வணக்கம், குட் மார்னிங். என் பெயர் டாக்டர் பிரபாகர். இன்னைக்கு வீடியோவில் நம்ம ஃபீட்பேக் மெக்கானிசம் பற்றி நம்ம டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ண போகிறோம். ஃபீட்பேக்குங்கிறது நார்மல் லைஃப்பில் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். ஒருத்தங்களுக்கு நம்ம அம்மாவோ வீட்டில் உள்ள வேறு ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் யார்கிட்டாலும் நம்ம நல்ல விதமான ஃபீட்பேக்கை உடனே அந்தந்த டயத்தில் கொடுக்குறது ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டண்ட். இப்போ ஒரு சாப்பாடு நல்லா இருக்குன்னா உடனே சாப்பாடு நல்லா இருக்கு, இந்த மாதிரி சாப்பிட்டதில்லை, இந்த மாதிரி கொஞ்சம் புகழ்ச்சியான வார்த்தைகள் சொல்கிறது லைஃபுக்கு ஒரு ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டண்ட்டான விஷயம். அது மாதிரி ஃபீட்பேக் மெக்கானிசம் ஆல்சோ இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஃபார் த நார்மல் ஹியூமன் லைஃப். So it is a basic mechanism for the physiology. So now we usually call the term homeostasis, that is maintained by the feedback mechanism. In physiology, feedback mechanism is the cycle of events that monitor the status and the progress of condition and send the information to the control center is the feedback mechanism. Okay. Cycle of events monitor the status and progress of condition, information to the control center. Okay, that is the feedback mechanism. Here are the three important parts in the feedback mechanism: sensor, sender, effector. Okay, sensor is the receptor that send the impulse to the sender through the afferent pathway. Sender, from the sender to the effector, it pass through the efferent pathway. Okay, so if the blood pressure is high, means it sends the impulse to the sender. It tries to decrease the blood pressure. So if the blood pressure is less, means it sends the impulse to the sender. It increases the blood pressure. So this is the cycle, feedback neck. Okay. In the human physiology, 99% of the feedback mechanisms are negative feedback mechanism. Okay, so it reverses the change. If the blood pressure is increases, means it will try to decreases the blood pressure. If the temperature is increases, means it try to decreases the temperature. So reverse a change and restore the abnormal values to the normal value. That is the negative feedback mechanisms. So 99% of the human body functions controlled by the negative feedback mechanism. So only 1% normal human being having the positive feedback mechanisms. It strengthens or reinforces the change. That strengthen and reinforce a change, make abnormal values more abnormal. So mainly positive feedback mechanisms occurs in during the clotting mechanism. Any injuries happen, means that is immediately vasoconstriction occur, then platelet plug formation occur, then clot formation occur. The cycle is repeated until the blood is arrested that injury site. That is example, one of the example. Positive and negative feedback mechanism control the homeostasis. Homeostasis means maintenance of the constant internal environment. That homeostasis concept was first proposed by the French physiologist Claude Bernard in the 19th century. He proposed the concept. The word homeostasis was coined by the Walter B. Cannon in 1929. Homeo means similar, stasis means same position. So in the human body, internal environment is mainly the extracellular fluid is act as the internal environment, mainly body fluids especially in the extracellular fluid. The fluid is present in between the cell, interstitial fluid and the blood. These things is act as the internal environment. It maintains the important pH, temperature, blood volume, body fluid volume, everything is maintained within the physiological limits. In this slide, we are going to see the types of feedback mechanism with examples. So 99% of our body functions are regulated by the negative feedback mechanisms. Example for the negative feedback mechanisms are temperature regulation, regulation of the blood glucose and blood volume regulation, regulation of the blood pressure, secretion of the most of the hormones. So suppose we are going to the hot climate, what will happen? Our body produces excessive sweating and vasodilatation. It will reduce our body temperature in the hot climate. When we are going to the cold climate, the shivering will occur. It will increases the body temperature and piloerection or goosebumps will occur. It will trap the air, prevent the loss of heat from our body and vasoconstriction will occur. This is prevent the loss of temperature from our body. So this is the example for the one of the feedback mechanism. So maintain the temperature within the normal level. Positive feedback mechanism in physiology occur only 1%. Most of the body positive feedback mechanisms are harmful. This is a vicious cycle. Okay. In physiology, only few places it will helpful. Example like coagulation cascade, activation of the digestive enzyme, parturition reflex. Parturition means delivery of the baby from the mother uterus. When the baby during the delivery stretches the mother cervix, it will send the impulse to the hypothalamus, releases the oxytocin. Again it produces the contraction of the uterus. So again stretches the baby, stretches the cervix. So again send the impulse to the hypothalamus. Until the delivery it will occur. So this is one of the examples for the parturition reflex. And Elgate surge during the ovulation. During the ovulation, luteinizing hormone level increases, it produces the ovulation. It is also one of the example. And another one example is the during the voltage scattered sodium channels. One channel open the other channels during the depolarization. That is called as the Kotskin cycle. That is also one of the examples for the positive feedback mechanism. So the homeostasis is maintained by the mostly negative feedback mechanism. In few places positive feedback mechanism also helpful for the normal human physiology mechanisms, regulatory mechanisms. Summary of the feedback mechanism. Feedback mechanisms are cycle of events that monitor the status and progress of condition, send the information to the center. Two types of feedback mechanisms are negative feedback mechanisms and positive feedback mechanisms. Most of our body functions are regulated by the negative feedback mechanisms. For both the negative and positive feedback mechanisms regulate the homeostasis. Homeostasis means maintenance of the internal environment. In our body, extracellular fluid is act as the internal environment. Example for the negative feedback mechanisms are temperature regulation, blood pressure regulation, blood volume regulation, most of the hormonal secretion, regulation of the most of the hormonal secretions. Example for the positive feedback mechanisms are coagulation cascade, Elgate surge during the menstruation, parturition reflex, activation of the digestive enzymes, Kotskin cycle. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, share your friends. Those who are not subscribed, please subscribe this channel. Thank you for once again.